My supervisor said I need to know my place, so I stayed in my place while everything burned around it. I'd been working as the facilities coordinator at this corporate office complex for 8 years when Mr. Thick decided to humiliate me during the building management meeting. We were reviewing the HVAC maintenance schedule, and I noticed he'd deferred critical chiller servicing to save money in this quarter's budget. If we skip the chiller maintenance now, we're risking a complete system failure during summer, I explained, pulling up service records showing we were already 6 months overdue. A failure during July heat could shut down the entire building for days. Mr. Thick cut me off with that condescending tone supervisors use when they want to remind you about hierarchy. Let me stop you right there, Autumn. You need to know your place in this organization, your facilities coordination, not executive decision making. I make the budget calls based on the bigger picture you don't see. Your place is scheduling repairs I authorize, not questioning financial strategy. I closed my folder while feeling 8 years of preventing building disasters get dismissed as overstepping. Understood, staying in my place from now on. He smiled with satisfaction, like he'd successfully established dominance. The very next week, the main elevator started making grinding noises that I recognized as the warning sign before cable failure. The old me would have immediately called the elevator company for emergency inspection. The new me heard the grinding, recognized it required executive authorization, and did absolutely nothing because making that call would be stepping outside my place. I documented the noise in my daily log and waited for Mr. Thick to authorize action. He never read the logs. 3 days later, the elevator failed between floors with 6 people trapped inside for 4 hours. The building had to shut down that entire wing for 2 days while they replaced the cable system. When Mr. Thick demanded to know why I didn't report the warning signs, I showed him my daily logs with detailed notes and explained that calling for emergency service without his budget authorization would have been stepping outside my place. Week 3 brought the parking garage disaster. I'd noticed water pooling in the lower level indicating the drainage system was backing up. The old me would have immediately called the drainage company and prevented the obvious flooding. The new me saw the water pooling, recognized it would require budget authorization, and stayed in my place by documenting it. 5 days later, a rainstorm hit, and the entire lower parking level flooded with 3 feet of water, damaging 18 tenant vehicles and causing $200,000 in property damage. Mr. Thick tried to blame me for not warning him, but I pulled up 5 separate daily logs where I'd documented the drainage issues. Month 2 was when everything truly started falling apart. The fire suppression system started showing pressure irregularities. The old me would have called the fire safety company immediately. The new me documented the irregularities and stayed in my place. 2 weeks later, during the fire marshal's annual inspection, they found the system was non-functional and would have failed during an actual fire. The building got cited, tenants received violation notices, and our insurance company threatened to cancel coverage. When Mr. Thick exploded about why I didn't fix it, I calmly explained that calling contractors without budget authorization would have been making executive decisions above my place. Then the water main issue. I noticed water pressure dropping and recognized it as a mainline leak warning. The old me would have called emergency plumbing immediately. The new me stayed in my place and documented it. The water main ruptured 3 days later, flooding the underground parking garage, causing foundation settling, and requiring $200,000 in emergency repairs. The emergency meeting with the property ownership group happened on a Monday morning. They wanted answers for how a building that had run flawlessly for years had become a nightmare in 2 months. Mr. Thick came prepared with presentations blaming deferred maintenance and aging infrastructure. The property manager cut through his excuses with one question directed at me. Autumn, you've coordinated this facility for 8 years. How did we miss all these problems? I pulled up my laptop and showed them everything. The daily maintenance logs documenting every single issue weeks before it became a crisis. The chiller maintenance I'd tried to schedule. The elevator warning signs I'd documented 3 days before people got trapped. The drainage issues I'd logged before the flood. The fire system irregularities I'd reported before the inspection. The water pressure drops I'd noted before the main ruptured. 8 years of catching problems early, all documented in logs that Mr. Thick never read. Then I showed them the recording from that management meeting where he'd explicitly told me to know my place and stop questioning his decisions. I've been staying in my place exactly as instructed. My place is documenting issues and waiting for executive authorization. Every disaster happened because the person making decisions didn't understand building systems well enough to recognize emergencies. The property owner stared at Mr. Thick with barely controlled fury. You told her to stop preventing disasters and just write reports? 2 weeks later, Mr. Thick was terminated and I was promoted to facilities director with full authority to take immediate action on any building system issue and a $70,000 raise. I went back to doing what I'd always done, catching problems before they became catastrophes, except now nobody could tell me that preventing disasters was above my station.